And we are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I am here. I am on time for once. Give me some credit. We have Rod. I want the dream to win. Counterpunch. Owen Bradley. Good evening, Kurt, my friend. Counterpunch. Eric the Yeti. Against all odds, like Haney is a victim. Terrible headline. No, it is not. Let me counterpunch Eric. He's against all odds because everything is against him. He's away from home for one. He doesn't have his father that's already been there for two. The best fight or the biggest fight that he's ever involved in his whole career for three that he's not there for. We know what's going on in Australia. We know what's happened in Australia. Okay. So when you say against all odds, yes, he's against all odds. Okay. He's not the favorite. He's not the home team advantaged. He is the B side. He's not the A side. The guy that actually is supposed to be favored here is the Emperor, and that's George Kambosos. Chick, counterpunch to you, brother. Yo, Kurt, sup, baby? Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Little confusion, but we got to pass through that. We just need information to eradicate confusion. That's what we need. Liable information. And when I say against all odds, it is. Let's just keep it a buck. Karma Serene, counterpunch to you, ATX in the building. Thank you for the super chat. Good afternoon to you too. Matt, fights going the distance. Oh, Karma, by the way, you need your own channel. You need your own channel. Throw it on my community. You need your own channel. Ambitious Resolve. Devin Haney is a pure boxer. If he doesn't get knocked out, he will definitely win. He has deep skill in the sport of boxing. Look, Ambitious Resolve. I think he needs a knockout. I think he needs to go for a knockout. I don't think he needs to play with George Kambosos. I don't think he has time to play. I don't think he has the area to play. Okay, this is not the playground to play in as far as distance going. I don't think that. I don't believe that. Okay, fights going the distance. Adeni. Afternoon, Kurt, brother. Counterpunch to you. Dame Star 9. Haney will need a KO to win. Counterpunch to you. He needs a KO in August. I hope he gets a KO for sure. I hope it's a KO either way. Because, see, if Kambosos stops Haney, or Haney stops Kambosos, we will have something definite. We won't have any BS. We won't have any corruption. We won't have any, what if this happened? What if that happened? Based on what type of fight we saw, based on what type of fight actually happened in front of us. Okay, because we could all see for ourselves what wins, and especially if you know what to look for. If you know what to look for in a boxing match that determines which fighter is winning a fight, then you should know what you're doing. Okay, Lee Foster, counterpunch to you. I'm doing good, man. Rod, I want a Greek undisputed, but I'm not a racist. Well, you're just what do you call it? Tribal. That's what you call tribal. Better yet to say, you're tribal. Alfred Young, I think he's got to go. I think he's got to at least be as busy on offense with defense to get the W. Well, Australia is down under. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying this is an endangered or a dangerous, suspicious area, country, territory, is because of what happened to Manny Pacquiao, the 8 division champion back in 2017. He was defeated by Jeff Horn. Even though Jeff Horn put up a good fight, I'm not saying he didn't put up a good fight, because he made it reckless. He did a lot of wrestling. He showed and he used his size against the smaller Pac-Man. Pac-Man couldn't get off those punches because he was being smothered by Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn was awkward. He would punch him. You throw that right hand lead and then grow in there and grab on him and lean on him. That weighed in on Pacquiao. Pacquiao suffered a bad cut in that fight. So we know a lot of things transpired in that fight. It was a dirty, murky fight for Pacquiao. But in the 10th round, that really pretty much showed, besides all the roughhousing, it showed that Manny Pacquiao separated himself from being the winner to a maybe loss or maybe this or maybe that. He showed you who he was, even being at the time, he was maybe 38, 39. Was 5 years, what was it? 17. So 5 years ago, he's 43. So yeah, 38. But he still showed Jeff Horn that he did enough to beat Jeff Horn, but he did not get the decision. Now understand, that was for the WBO. Okay, that was for the WBO. Okay, that's the same belt that Terrence Crawford took off of him in the very next fight because he didn't want to get another rematch with Jeff Horn because he knew, I think I did, just like he did with Bradley. I think I won enough. I did enough to win the fight. I think I beat Jeff Horn. I think I beat Bradley too. I beat Bradley too. Right? So he didn't, at the time, he didn't want to fight Bradley. That's why he got knocked out by Marquez, December 8th, 2012. Yes, that's what happened. Well, I think blame Manny, not the judges. No, you can't blame Manny. Manny fought. Look, Manny did what he could do. I think he did enough to beat Jeff Horn. Okay, let's even do this. Okay, since we're talking about Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, let's do this because one thing I want to know is what you guys think. Okay, so okay. Oh, we got images here now. Oh, that's cool. I was wondering when you can make a poll and actually put images. So that's cool. That's cool. So all right. So image. Okay. This fight. Oh, okay. I see what this is. Okay. All right. I see. No, they want you to pick an image or pick an actual answer that you can select. So let's do it like this then. So I was actually wondering when they were going to actually make that fun. Jeff Horn. No, Jeff Horn's a pretty big welterweight though. That's why he went to 154 and he didn't really do much up there because I don't think he punched hard enough. Um, all right. So boom, boom. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I just made a poll just so you guys know. Jeff Horn shit. Haney's gonna take him out of there with the to win. Manny got some awful decisions. Look at him versus Bradley. We were just talking about that. We were just talking about that. Suspicious, as my granddad would say. That's kind of suspicious. um, You talk as if the United States of America don't rob any other fighters. Alfred Yankson, absolutely not. I wasn't saying that. But what I'm saying is, dude, what I'm saying is anybody, regardless of where you at, I'm not just attacking Australia. I'm attacking the idea of someone not being at home and how that does work against them. That's what I'm talking about. That's an odd against you, against all odds. His father's not there. He's not a big puncher. We've seen him hurting with Linares. You know, he's a good boxer, but does being a good boxer mean you're going to win a decision away from home? That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. All right. So you're saying you act like they don't, dude. I've seen Lennox Lewis versus Holyfield one. That shit was despicable. You know, and I'm an American. I knew that wasn't right. And I didn't even like Lennox Lewis. But I knew that wasn't right. Because I know Lennox Lewis beat the shit out of Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield might have won round 3 because he predicted that he would knock out Lennox Lewis in 3 rounds. And when 3 rounds and round 3 came upon him, he tried his best to get him out of there. After that was over, he didn't try anymore. Lennox Lewis beat the hell out of him. He couldn't get close enough. Lennox Lewis stuffed that jab in his face and hit his ass with that right to keep him honest. That's it. But they still gave him a draw. So, you know, and here's the thing. Devin Haney, the least thing what that could happen to him is if they called it a draw. Because that means that George Kambosos remains with all of his titles, including the franchise status, and Devin Haney will still be with the WBC. Mark David Muego, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Too bad Haney can't punch like Azuma Nelson. Yeah, Azuma Nelson could punch. You know? Haney doesn't have his father and his trainer in the corner. No, he doesn't. Mark, he does not. Mark, what channel's a poll on? It's on this channel. Just go to the community. Go ahead and drop a vote. Jason Smart. Haney has to knock out Kambosos or do like Bivol. Well, Bivol beat Canelo. We all know that. We all saw that. But the scorecards still didn't reflect that fight. Just like the Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko fight, it didn't reflect that fight. So, like, there's a lot of things that happen that we are not aware of. Okay? We are not aware of. Home counts for a lot of perks. That's in all sports. Alfred Young. Yeah? Okay. You should have said that the first time. You know what I mean? You should have said that the first time. But back to you, Jason. I think that Bivol, though, he won. The right person won. And you could look at that as some sign of hope that shines some light possibly on a fair decision. But we're looking at a fighter that has been known to go the distance. Was it 24 wins, 15 by KO? You know, he had the kind of record that Floyd had at that time. Well, not even at that time, honestly. January. How old is Floyd? 45? Floyd is 45 years old. So he's 45. So if we go back to 2001, that's 21 years ago. Okay. So he was 24. So he was a year older than Devin Haney when he fought Diego Chico Corrales, but he had that similar record. He wasn't a big puncher. Diego Corrales was like 33-0 with like 28, 29 KOs or something like that. He had a high knockout percentage. So looking at that fight, you're like, man, Diego's going to catch him. And he couldn't, and he didn't. And Floyd mopped the floor with him. Now, I think, this is my prediction, I think Devin Haney has to do a job like that. Not like Bivol did Canelo, no. I think it has to be more like how Floyd did Diego Chico Corrales. That's what I think. Because Corrales was knocked down 7 times. It had to be something like embarrassing to that point in order for that fight to come home, for him to bring all those damn belts back from Australia. That's what I believe. If it's anywhere close, he's not going to get the decision. Yoel Judah, good fighter. He was with his son for a long time. But it's nothing like having that energy with your father there. This is the biggest fight. But like, he's against all odds. I don't see him winning a decision. I don't. Am I going for him? Yeah, I'm going for Devin Haney. I'm rooting for Devin Haney because Devin Haney's been ducked, and when it was time for him to shine, he didn't shine like people thought he would. Remember how he fought Gamboa after Tank? He's supposed to lay Gamboa out, being that old. But Gamboa was experienced enough to hang in there. He still beat him, but he just showed he didn't have the power like that. But Gamboa proved to be tough. And then another thing, who did stop Gamboa, though? I mean, a fresh, undefeated Gamboa, Terrence Crawford, might I add. Okay, so but all these guys, they're fighting a 30 some odd year, a fucking 40 some odd year old Gamboa for how many rounds? 12 rounds. I don't know. Did Tank stop Gamboa, or was it? It went to the 12th, I know, but a one-legged Gamboa. Come on. We'll watch Corrales fight. Good point. A great feat is no doubt. Well, look, he has to do that. He has to shine. He has to shine. He has to be hungry, which I think he is. But I think he has to do what it takes to put the stank on the win. Because if he doesn't, if he lets Kambosos get a rhythm, because Kambosos is a quick, fast, fiery fighter. Okay, he throws punches because he's more like I don't know if he's faster than Lenatus, but he's just about the same type of fighter. And if he goes in there and he fucks around and he either runs out of gas or whatever, he's going to get beaten by decision. I don't think he's going to get knocked out. If he gets knocked out, fine. If he gets knocked out, fine. If he knocks out Kambosos, fine. Because at the end of the day, we won't have to worry about the judges. We won't have to worry about any of this that I'm talking about right now. I'm just talking about the possibility of something like this happening. And it's very, very, very high. It's very high. Probable, yes. Why don't you see him winning a decision when they have neutral judges who is not from Australia? I'm going to tell you why. El Boogie, good question. See, and someone else made a point of Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. Well, none of the judges were from Australia. I don't think it has anything to do with where the judges are from. I think it has everything to do with where the fight takes place, because there's politics on where the fight is. There's politics of who the audience is, bias of where the audience are. If they're going to be Australian or whatever. Because what happens with judges are only human. Judges don't turn off or turn the volume all the way down like you see my live streams judging and judging a fight properly. You got to turn the volume down to see punch for punch. Not a punch lands and you hear it and the crowd goes freaking crazy. They go bazook, right? You don't see that. Those judges hear all that. We don't, but those judges do. Those judges will hear this crowd and they're sitting there trying to judge, but it's automatically, they feel the noise and the influence behind the crowd. And not only that don't mean just because you're not from Australia, you can't get bought. That has nothing to do with it. That's irrelevant. It don't matter where you're from. You could be from Louisiana and get bribed and go over to Australia and bet on the local guy. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Judges can be swayed with noise. Counterpunch. Skrilla50, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Kurt, on your LRR community picture, it's small. At first glance, you look like Ali. Yep. Part of that family, kid. Judges can be swayed with noise. Haney is overrated, our kid. Look, Brendan, we'll see if he's overrated. We will find out Saturday if he's overrated or not. We will see. Because this separates the men from the boys. You've heard George say, yeah, he's just, yeah, that boy, I'm going to whoop that boy. I'm going to show that boy. Okay. You know? So it is what it is, you know? So we will see what Devin Haney can do. But he has to show us something besides normal, besides mediocre, besides mediocrity. We have to show exceptional boxing skills along with aggression and a desire to win round by round by round by round because of where you're at and what you're trying to prove versus what you're trying to accomplish. If he's trying to accomplish getting these straps from George Kambosos, because you know George ain't gonna sit there and let him throw those punches. Like, no, George is going to be fighting back. George is like, he likes scraps. So you have to be careful. Wesley says that Haney wins easily. We got to see it. I think Kambosos has let the TO win get to his head. Well, for that matter, if that's the case, I think T.O. let the Lomachenko win go to his head, definitely. So I think that's just a transference of energy, to be honest. But do I think that? Yeah, I think that about both of them. I think that T.O. thought he was the shit for fighting Lomachenko, not understanding fighting and beating Lomachenko is what made him who he is. So it was his downfall, not fighting Lomachenko. If T.O. was smart, T.O. would have took that damn rematch. But no, arrogance. Arrogance went to T.O.'s head because T.O. should have known, like, where and how did I get here? He tried to pull a Floyd. That's what T.O. tried to do. He tried to be like Floyd, Money Mayweather. When Mayweather beat De La Hoya, he didn't want to give him a rematch. He fought Ricky Hatton, which was smart because he was undefeated. But at least he beat him, though. Then he retired. Teofimo fights Lomachenko, decides, you know what? Fuck Lomachenko. And then fights Kambosos. It gets delayed, then fights him for real, and he gets outpointed and beat. That's what happened to him. And it just shows you how you have to be physically prepared and ready to talk that type of shit, to have that type of mindset. If you're going to be arrogant, if you're going to be boisterous and my shit don't stink and I'm the best, you better damn sure be trained like you're the best. That's the difference between Floyd, Money Mayweather, and Teofimo and all these other cats that thought they were good. Blair the Flair, all those guys that thought they were good. And then to find out they weren't there skill-wise. They didn't have what it took. They weren't prepared. That's the difference. That is the difference. So T.O. thought, hey, you know what? Lomachenko, I don't have to fight him no more. So I already took what he has to offer. So, you know, and all they were going to give him more money and all that. He didn't care. You know? So that's what it was. But I think that went to his head. I think he should have humbled himself to know, look, let me beat him again. Let me get paid the way that I need to get paid so I can really show people that I can knock him out. You remember his father. You remember T.O. Sr., Teofimo Sr. My son will knock out Lomachenko. He will knock him out, bro. You remember that? Oh, he'll knock him out easy in the rematch. Well, if there's no rematch, how do we know that? You're just talking shit then. I hate people. You know what? I can't say I hate people like that. I can't stand when people do that shit. You talk meaningless nonsense. That's 100% shit talk at its worst because you're saying something that can never be proven. It would be different if he was retired and past his prime and all that shit. That's one thing. But you're able, you're in shape, you're willing, physically, mentally, I guess, to show what you say that you're going to do. And that's what I can't stand when people do that. My son never lost a round. A round of sparring. All professional, bro. Loma had a broken shoulder against Lopez. Okay. All right, well, Loma wins a rematch hands down. Depends on what Loma shows up. Bill Haney sells drugs to children. Fat Panda Pop. That's not cool. That's not cool. I think it was personal between T.O. and Loma. Well, I think it was made personal due to how Bob Arum was treating Loma. Look, Bob Arum was treating Loma better than uh, Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford was an undefeated fighter, like he is to this day. You know, same with Floyd and Oscar. I think Haney will fight his best fight. It's gonna be a good. It's gonna be good. Whoever wins. Hmm. All right, I can dig it. George, there has been some big decisions where the home fighter didn't win on the cards. Judges did the right thing. Same happens in Oz. Win for Haney. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Fathers are a hindrance to most boxers. Some of them, Brendan. Some of them. Fury is the flea market version of Ali. I have never heard that. Long Wolf, man, that's crazy. Loma's shoulder is equivalent of T.O.'s esophagus. He knew that when he stepped into the ring. Ooh, karma hitting with that karma counterpunch. Dame Star 9, T.O. felt like Team Loma was disrespectful. Well, you had the mishaps with the hotels. Loma wanted a certain hotel, and Loma found out that T.O. was there, so he wanted to move hotels. It was a lot of shit like that. I don't know. T.O. Senior came up to him drunk, tried to talk to him, felt disrespected, because he was full of some oil or whatever, you know. Rene Padilla, what's up, brother? God bless you. Salute to you, Rene Padilla Jr. Brendan Toll, I love your daughter's impression of Wilder. To this day. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna start reloading those up, man. I've been really slacking on my intros. I'm trying to make more intros because I have maybe about 20, believe it or not, 20 different intros, and I want more. I want to up the ante. I want to up the quality of everything. The closer I get to 100,000 subscribers, definitely, that's what my projection is going to be towards the channel for everybody, for you guys. So, hold on to the ride. You got to blame Loma for being too confident to put in a rematch clause. Yeah, well, that's, Loma did. He did. He didn't. You know what I mean? He was too confident, and he didn't put in that rematch clause, and that just shows you, And To was focused. To was focused. To was ready. To won that fight. But when he won that fight, that shit went to his head, and I think he wasn't the same guy. But how much of that with To though can you say that contributed to uh, his family? You know what I mean? Because he had a lot of stuff going on with him. Bunch of family members taking his money, taking advantage of him. David Morris, these top welterweights need to fight each other. A bunch of fannies. Welterweights. Well, dude, we had Porter Crawford. We had Ugas, Errol Spence. We just need Errol Spence to fight Terrence Crawford. Keith Thurman fought Danny. He fought Sean. He fought Pacquiao. The only thing is we just got to have the PBC guys to fight everybody else. Like, I like the idea of Danny Garcia taking on Jose Benavidez. That's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a good fight. Hey, Kurt, if Edwin Valero was alive today, how great can you see him be? I have no idea, Renee, because the thing about Edwin, good talk. I'm back to work. Peace. Alfred Young, counterpunch to you, brother. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the love. Edwin, we don't know how far he could have progressed because if it wasn't for the murders and suicide and all that, it probably would have been something else. He couldn't fight in America, so he couldn't get exposure over here unless HBO went to Mexico City or some other place like that, and had the venue some other place, but he couldn't get licensed to fight here in the States. So we don't know how good he would have been and what he was able to do. Because who knows, though? He could have had a spectacular showdown with Manny Pacquiao. He could have replaced Juan Manuel Marquez. He could have been that guy that fought Pacquiao 3-4 times. You never know. Dame Star, to this day. Oh, man. I still listen to, was it something Spears? He made a remix of Deontay Wilder. To this day. And then they had Anthony, to this day. Kambosos is the man that beat the man that beat the man. No, that's true. But still, you like that man that beat the man to beat the man shit. You better beat the other man. See, there's always other fights that could be made. See, the man that beat the man, what about the other man? Because it had to be somebody they beat. So if Kambosos, in other words, fights Loma and he gets beat the fuck up by Lomachenko, what would that mean? That would mean you can't go on the man that beats the man. The man that beats the man, these triangle theories don't work. History tells you they don't work. We all know they don't. If you don't know that triangle theories don't work, if you don't know that, you should be educated on that. They don't. True, Kurt. I probably wouldn't want to deal with Tio Sr. either. What's your prediction on Hughie Fury versus Michael Hunter? I feel it will be a snooze fest with a close Fury win on points. I don't know. Depends on Michael Hunter, though. Michael Hunter's a good fighter. I seen him fight Usyk, and he landed some shots on Usyk that I haven't seen people land, not even Joshua. So Michael Hunter's a very good boxer. Don't sleep on him. It's just he's a good guy. He's not this bad guy with a bunch of tats and I don't like people and I get into bar fights and you know what I mean? He's not that type of dude. He's not. Michael Hunter's a regular dude. Michael Hunter looks like one of my cousins from the Midwest. You know what I mean? Just an overall, if he wasn't a boxer, he would probably work for Foremost or, you know what I mean? Something like that. Like, oh, I work for a factory and, I work for Amazon or something like that. So, listen, it's like he doesn't have that. He's skillful. He's small. But, I mean, I think people get carried away with how big heavyweights are today, because I think he's just a normal heavyweight at this point. You got Joshua, Wilder, Fury, and all these big guys, Joyce, and all those guys. But I think for the same reason Terrence Crawford's not very, very marketable is because those guys just don't talk a lot. They're not Floyd. They're not an Adrian Broner. They're not a Keith Thurman. Okay, they're not those type of guys. They don't talk a bunch of shit. They are good guys. And I think because sometimes you can be too good and people just throw you into this pool of just being mediocre when it comes to promoting yourself and being promoted. He doesn't have like a knockout power or nothing like that. Man, if he got a left hook, that dude catch you with the left hook, you out. None of that. He's just an overall good fighter. And don't sleep on Michael Hunter. But Michael Hunter, though, if he's not careful, he'll end up being just like he was with Povetkin. Povetkin dropped him, but he dropped Povetkin and Povetkin ran out of gas because he's older. You know what I mean? And they still called it a damn draw. So, yeah, I mean, he could, he knows what it is, him going to the UK. And that was his reasoning for not taking the Hrgovic fight because it was in the UK. I know because I interviewed Michael Hunter, and that's what he told me. Okay, last year. Looks like AJ Usyk will happen in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, according to this guy. Let's hope so. The sooner the better. Why I feel Haney will not win a decision this weekend. Ray Goodfellow. I don't know. I have no idea. I agree, Kurt. Like Luke Campbell. But no. Haney. Uh I think Haney has what it takes to beat because Haney's a very good boxer. He has the pedigree, he has the experience. He's been around the right type of people. You know, he's around Floyd. Anybody that really grew up in the Mayweather gym knows. He just has to be on point. And when I mean point, I mean he has to be there like Pretty Boy Floyd was there. Pretty Boy Floyd made sure he accented everything because you weren't able to touch him and he was able to catch you with everything that he could possibly block and catch and shoot and repeat the process and show you you can't get past this defense. And anytime you leave a hole open, I'm going to exploit it. That's the type of performance we need from Devin Haney. If we don't get that performance from Devin Haney and it's some shit like, oh man, I give him this round, but I'm not sure about this round, and Camboso's won this round, and that round might belong to Haney, but I don't know about round 5, he's going to lose. You want me to prove it to you? Boom. Canelo Alvarez. If Canelo Alvarez would have made that fight more interesting because he wasn't able to land, he was just hitting him on the arm. You know, that's all he was doing. That's all he was doing. I'm like, dude, how many times you gonna whack this dude in the shoulder? Obviously, he's been taking his Wheaties. You're not gonna fucking stop him from punching with the shoulder that you're punching. Okay, this is a bigger dude that you're punching. You're thinking you're gonna break down a bigger dude as though the bigger dude's a smaller dude. But if he would have made it interesting, if he would have landed more shots to the body, because Bivol was able to catch those shots. He was able to catch those shots. That right, remember that right? Canelo comes down and bah, and he racks you with that right to the body. Bivol started, boop, catching it and shooting with a left hook, countering him successfully. And he did that on many occasions that made Canelo like, damn, this kid's catching me when I'm trying to go for my bone breaking punches. They call me bone because that's what I break when I hit. Don't say that. Monty Barrett type of fighter. Exactly. Word of the day. He is. He's just like a guy. He's very good technical, knows his boxing fundamentals and everything like that. But at the end of the very end of the day, people, all right, he doesn't have anything extraordinary. Okay, he doesn't have anything extraordinary. So that's what it is. So if he fights Huey Fury, and Huey is like his cousin. He just doesn't have. He's like an unpolished version of Tyson Fury. Okay. Thanks for putting my text on the screen, Kurt. I'm sending it all to my friends because a very knowledgeable guy. Thanks. God bless. Brendan, no problem. That goes for everybody. Nobody's beyond getting put on front street for saying something that makes sense, of saying something that's interesting. This is the community. Usyk won a decision in London. Lone Wolf, you are right. Counterpunch to you. He did win in London. But you have to understand, Usyk did some shit like this. And that was controversy still. Understand. Usyk made sure he won every round the way he's supposed to win it. And he put an exclamation mark on at the very end. Because people thought, man, Joshua almost got stopped. If anybody gives you that type of indication by looking at what you saw, that means that man did enough to win. Feed the Bear. We have a new member. Counterpunch to you. Welcome back, Feed the Bear. My boy Phil in the building. Counterpunch to you. Look at all the good content. If you haven't seen it, go back to it. Enjoy, and welcome back to the club. Okay. Devin was celebrating that T.O. lost to George. He didn't want to fight T.O. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. That's not the case. I think those guys wanted to fight each other. They were back and forth for the longest, taking pictures. And look, you know what? Obviously, they weren't going to fight each other. Obviously, T.O. wasn't going to fight him. He was going to fight someone else. That's it. You know what I mean? So, and it really, T.O. fought whoever he felt he wanted to fight because T.O. thought he had already arrived. Dion W. Kurt, what up, big dog? Dion, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Kurt, do you agree that Triple G beat Canelo in both fights? Most experts ringside thought the same. Well, favoritism. Favoritism. All right? That's favoritism all the way through. Let me explain. Yes, I think Triple G beat Canelo, no doubt. He outpointed him. He out-hustled him. He had him backpedaling. That was not the Canelo we're used to seeing. He beat Canelo the first fight. They called it a draw. The second fight was closer because Canelo changed his game plan that changed the perception of how you looked at that fight. The fight was Canelo was moving forward, countering what he could against Golovkin, but he didn't back up. Okay? He did not back up. And then why he was doing that, while he was moving forward, he was getting Golovkin tired. So Golovkin was going back. He was still using the jab, but Canelo was coming forward and using that lateral movement and working that body and getting up under that jab and ripping the left hook down to that liver area. So he was doing what he could do based on how the first fight went. He did the opposite. He switched up. He didn't want to box. He didn't want to box like no more and move and avoid punches and circle around and get on the ropes and all that. He didn't want to do that this time. So what happened was he landed shots to Golovkin, and the fights were pretty much the same. They were pretty even. It's just Golovkin outpointed him. I don't even know if Golovkin outpointed Canelo the second fight, but I can tell you this. Canelo Alvarez looked better moving forward than he did backwards. And because of that, and because he's a cash cow, because it's so bloody hard for him to lose a decision, they gave it to him. But understand something. I want you guys to keep in mind when the rematch was involved, when Gennady Golovkin took his first and only L, people, I want you to realize something. He was with Golden Boy. That's right. He was with Golden Boy. He was with Oscar De La Hoya. I think Oscar De La Hoya had some special shit going on with Canelo Alvarez. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it how I feel. I think Oscar did special things, had special stuff set aside. And then now you can prove it. Want me to prove it to you? How was he at the Bivol fight? He shouldn't have never fought Dimitri Bivol. He made a mistake. He should have never fought him. Well, that shows you that Oscar De La Hoya wouldn't even never allow Canelo to fight Bivol. Why? Because he knew that he could possibly lose. He knew that the guy was big enough. He knew it was a dangerous fight. He knew that Bivol was a hell of a fighter and a big hell of a fighter. And a big little guy and a good big guy always beats a good little guy, right? Like they say. So Oscar De La Hoya was not going to allow those fights to happen. So aren't you glad that he left Oscar? And if I'm right, and I hope I'm right, that means that Canelo is capable of losing decisions in the future, especially when he gets older. Especially see Canelo when he's 35 or 36, 3-4 more years down the road. And he starts actually looking slower. He's not the same fighter. The head movement's still there, but he's catching some here and there. He's catching a jab or two. He's catching a right hand, but he's still moving forward, right? But he doesn't move like he used to. Okay? Yes, I see him losing. I see him losing decisions also. And stay the hell away from 175. Because if you think Bivol did something, try somebody like Beterbiev that does have power. He can hit you with like 6-inch power. Type of power he hits you with, you're like, damn, what's going on, son? I like Bivol. I want him versus Beterbiev since Canelo fighting Triple G. That would be good. I want Bivol and Beterbiev to fight. I think that's the fight that should happen. ESPN and DAZN or whatever, they should get together. Where it's going to be on ESPN or DAZN, I don't know. It's going to be on one or the other. Ain't going to be no merging shit with that because they ain't big enough fighters. But I want to see that fight. I want to see Bivol take him on. I want to see Bivol take on Beterbiev now, not next year, not the year after. Hell no, now. Beterbiev is 36 years old. I don't know what type of punishment he took. I know he looks tough as shit. Do not mess with Artur Beterbiev. You better ask Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown busted him open from a headbutt. But he got picked apart. He got broke down. He got stopped. Okay. Brutality at his ruggish. Nello will bounce back, just stay at 168. Okay, you can do that. I see him beating Golovkin. And if he stops Golovkin, let it go. Golovkin, retire. Bye. See you later. Usyk beats people so convincingly you can't score the fight any other way. Well, that's what Usyk does. That's what makes Usyk special, because Usyk's not going to let judges do something or say something or think something. If they rob Usyk, they just robbed Usyk. Hey, Kurt, what should Boots do if he can't get a Crawford or Spence fight? Keep knocking people out. Take on Keith Thurman. Take on Danny Garcia from Philly. Make it a Philly fight. If Ugas is still around, fight Ugas. Who else is there? Nobody. Nobody else is there, really. That's a wrap. Be ready to knock out Taylor. Josh Taylor, remember he comes to 147? Be ready to knock him out. Because I think Boots Ennis would knock out Josh Taylor. So, yeah, keep doing it. And, look, Ennis already let everyone know. Look, if you're not going to give me the opportunity, just move to another weight class and let me get it. Because you obviously don't want to fight me. So don't hold up the division, making it stagnant. Because I'm here to clear it up and clean it up. Okay? I'm taking all commas. That's Jared. That's Ennis. No, Haney knew he had a better chance of making a fight with George instead of Tio. Yeah, he did. He knew that. AJ should use the alien, the savage, Babbitt style, totally violence. Well, something else besides what he used. Should fight the stable of guys he came up with. That's true. I would love to see him and Blair to Flair. Bivol would get crushed by Zurdo Ramirez. Okay, that remains to be seen. I would like to see it, though. Ramirez is huge. He's a big-ass dude. Do you think Robert Garcia will make a difference for AJ? Maybe. I mean, we'll see on the day. Hopefully we can see some footage. Who you got your money on, Devin or George? I ain't got my money on any of them. Falafalman. Any of them. I don't gamble. Bud is the best in that division. Classy, skillful boxer. Way a great technique. Well, beat the bear. That fight should happen this year. Errol Spence, if he's serious about fighting the best representation of Terrence Crawford, he should fight him this year. If he wants to bullshit, he's going to wait a year. And that shows you he didn't want to fight him when he should have fought him. Just like Canelo didn't want to fight Golovkin when he should have fought Golovkin. Canelo should have fought Golovkin in 2016, people. That fight should have happened late 16. It should have. AJ has too much muscle on his frame, causing oceans of lactate acid to build up. Yeah. He'll sit in a bucket of ice and do all this shit, but still, he has too much muscle mass. But I think Anthony Joshua lifts weights and all that shit, not for sport, not for mobility or anything that has anything to do with boxing. I think it has everything to do with the image of boxing or his ego. I think that's just his preference. He just likes to be, I'm massive. I am a massive specimen. I think he just does that for himself. I don't think he does that for boxing, because he knew, and we saw, he didn't need all them damn muscles for boxing. Look what he did to Andy Ruiz. He would have done that shit to the first Andy Ruiz. If you take the second Joshua, the one that slimmed down, and you put his ass in the first fight with Andy Ruiz, he would have beat that Andy Ruiz ass too. Because all he would have done is bip, 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 bip. Step, move, bip, move, bip, move, bip. He would have done what Lennox Lewis did to David Tua. David Tua couldn't get shit started because David Tua kept getting popped. That jab was mopping his face, turning it into a bloody mass. Then he was dropping that right. And what Lennox did was special because what happened, he made Tua pay. Because Lennox Lewis, what he would do, he would hit him, bip, bip, bip. You know, he has a bip. He holds that jab here. Bip. He kept jabbing Tua, smiling. Right? So he kept doing that. And whenever Tua would throw that left, that's when Lennox, oh, you trying to throw the left? He would come down with a right hand. He would make him pay. Every time Tua decided to load up with a left hook, and he would miss terribly. Woof! Lennox Lewis. There you go. Do it again. Throw it again. Oh, that's what he did each and every time. He would make David Tua pay for what he attempted to do. Make him miss, make him pay. That's what made Lennox Lewis special. Okay? That's exactly what happened. Anthony Joshua, he should have done that to Andy Ruiz. If Andy Ruiz, he split his eye open. He should have fucked Andy Ruiz up. I mean, he should have fucked him off. Hey, Counterpunch, why are most of your videos based on heavyweights? Because I'm a heavyweight. I've been trying to do better, user G123. You know what I mean? I'm from London, and this is the best American YouTube boxing channel I subscribe to. Fala Falman, appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. But back to Devin Haney, though. As far as Devin Haney goes, everything has to be on point. Everything. I mean, absolute everything. He can't fall for the Leonidas George Kambosos talk. Shout out to John 5. I talked to him today. He sent me a message. Matter of fact, he's a good friend that I spar with back home. And he texted me and he was like, second. Let's see here. He said, man, he played the speech from Leonidas before they went to war at the presser. Even if he don't win, that was some classic shit. Shout out to John 5. Look, and like George Kambosos, like I've told you guys, he's better at promoting himself. He's better at trash talk. Devin Haney, I think, is a better boxer. But I think on the promotional end, I don't think he's that guy. So if he's not that guy, don't play into something that you're not. Okay, you do what you do well. Aqua J. Agis. Do what you do well. Talking smack ain't what Devin Haney does. So I think he doesn't have to do that. Who do you got? Andy Ruiz versus King Kong. Andy should beat King Kong by now. If Andy gets beat by King Kong, it's over for Andy. Andy needs to go home, chill, eat, make another baby, buy another hotel. Or sorry, another property. If he can't beat Luis Ortiz at 43 years of age, he doesn't need to be in the sport. He beat Anthony Joshua in 2019 one time, and he only, he hasn't done shit since. Let's just be real. Love from the UK, Samuel Apia. Catch you later, Kurt. Just jumped on for a bit. Mate, good to see you back in the lives. Take care. God bless. God bless you, Feed the Bear. And welcome back to the channel. Lost to Ortiz because of my knee. I lost my knee. I didn't want to fight Luis. Now imagine Andy Ruiz lost to Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz. Right? And Andy's like, my knee, I couldn't get my punches off. He kept hitting me. He's very slick. All those Cuban fighters are slick. I had Frank Sanchez. He was hitting me too, the same way in sparring. I wanted a sneaker. My blood sugar was low. I've lost too much weight. I can't handle this. No disrespect. I would like a rematch with Luis. No, I would like a rematch with Anthony Joshua. I'm like, dude, what? Joshua? Motherfucker, we didn't ask you about Joshua. I want a rematch with Joshua. I just want 3 million. Not all Cuban fighters are slick. That's true. That's true. Yeah, that is true. Like some of them think they are, but let's say this: there a lot of people are slicker. A lot of Cuban fighters are slicker than most. Who's next for Tank? Anthony, whoever they gonna put him in there with. It ain't gonna be nobody we know. Not my opinion. It ain't gonna be nobody that we know. Tank doesn't have the to chase anyone. Well, that is a narrative. And I don't think it's about chasing anybody. It's not even about chasing anybody. I think if you're an elite fighter, you don't have to chase anyone. I think you just have to request or let it be known that you want to fight the best. Bars. I don't think it's about that. I don't think, that just because Tank's calling someone out doesn't mean he's chasing someone. See, that type of shit goes with that Floyd. I'm not chasing. I'm not chasing Manny Pacquiao. I'm not chasing him. Manny Pacquiao know where to see me. I got my own balls. I'm my own boss. So Manny Pacquiao got a promoter. So if you want Manny Pacquiao to fight me, you better ask his promoter. Manny Pacquiao don't speak for himself. I speak for myself. You know what I mean? So like, it's not about that. It's about like, hey, I want to fight the best. Instead of Floyd just said, I want Manny Pacquiao. I want to tax that ass too. Tell Bob to call Al. Right? So that's what it's about. I don't think, he's a hate side. It doesn't matter. Fight the best fights. Fight Ryan Garcia if Ryan Garcia wants to fight, because you don't know if that's all on Tank too. I think a lot of the lightweights were full of shit, are full of shit. I'm just going to keep it real with you. I think when it comes to Ryan Garcia, when it comes to Teofimo, when Teofimo before he got that, after he got those belts, he became kind of untouchable. He couldn't fight anybody. I'm like, damn, who are you gonna fight? Look at Cambosos. When Cambosos beat Teo, that showed you everything you needed to know. Who the hell is Devin fighting? Cambosos. And that makes Teo look bad. Why? Because while all this back and forth shit with Teo, and then all of a sudden Teo gets beat, then the guy that beats him gets a next fight goes with Devin Haney. And then there's another question you ask yourself. Well, what if Teo would have beat George Cambosos? You think there would have been a Devin Haney and Teo fight? Hades, no. Hades, no, it wouldn't have been. Hades, no. JR, counterpunch to you, brother. Pacquiao definitely won that fight. The scorecards were disgusting. Yeah, Anthony, I think so. But it just shows you that was in Australia. So if Devin Haney goes over there thinking he can do a mediocre job of beating George Cambosos, he's mistaken. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by against all odds. Somebody said it was a terrible title. No, it's not a terrible title. His dad's not over there. His dad is like a big, huge percentage, a massive percentage on why he is where he is today. Counterpunch. And he can't be there to see his son? You think that don't fuck with Devin? That's personal stuff there. Yeah, FaceTime and all that shit. Okay, well, but still, you know what I mean? That ain't nothing like being in the flesh. It ain't nothing like being in the flesh. Tio would have avoided Haney all day. We wouldn't have saw that damn fight, because at that point Tio would have then probably relinquished them damn belts and left them, and then or tried to keep him and hold on to him and try to take his ass over there to 140 and try to get a fight with Josh Taylor, because that was the big thing. Josh Taylor and Tio, and both of them to me lost. Josh Taylor lost. He lost too. Let's keep it a buck. He didn't win that fight. He got beat too against his mandatory. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, Devin put some stank on his punches with Kambosos. He's going to need it, and Kambosos will have a chin as well. Well, we'll see. I mean, he took T.O.'s punches. I mean, he was hurt, though. Look, T.O. hurt Kambosos in the 10th more than Kambosos hurt him in the first. Now, I'll say that. But you have to understand that was 9 rounds in between. You know, what percentage of that was fatigue versus overall punching power that legitimately hurt that fighter from that punch? You know, you got to look at the accumulation of the effort, the speed, the reflexes, the movement, the punches taken, thrown, right? The clinches back and forth. 9 rounds of that shit. Then you get caught with a big shot. So you got to add all that up. Is Haney on the back foot all night this weekend? I hope not. He can't win a fight like that, being on the back foot. I agree, Kurt. Haney has to dominate, outbox his ass. He has to outbox his ass, then pull the Alexander Usyk. He has to do that, because if he doesn't, they'll look at that. Anything George Kambosos does, that's all you're going to hear all night. Left hook by Kambosos. That's all you're going to hear. All right. Give me a Foster's beer. Hand me a Foster's. Big ass can like that big shit. Go, Kambosos. Hit it with the left. You know what I mean? Yeah. Look. Devin's going to have to be on this shit. He's going to have to be on this shit. I'm going for Devin Haney, but I think Devin Haney has to do something extraordinary to win a decision. But it does show, it shows overall confidence. It shows that he's willing to put everything on the line. So you can't say that Devin Haney is a ducker of anybody. We can say people have ducked him, though. We can say that. Okay? We can definitely say that. But for Devin Haney has to be on his A game, but he's against all odds. Okay? So I think he's going to have to show people, because he's against all odds. Okay? He has to show people that he is up for the test. This is when the championship spirit, the pedigree, has to show out, has to come out in Devin the Dream Haney. Guys, I thank you guys for coming on. Give you guys an hour. Devin Haney against all odds. Please vote. Thank you guys again. I'm about to jump off of here. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Everybody that jumped on and jumped off, God bless you all. And you all have been counterpunched. Peace.